The idea to this topic came to me when I was very emotional myself, and I wanted to explain how it works in practice, controlling emotions, that is. Now, this video is mainly addressed to men, but it is relevant to women as well. Women are more attuned with their feelings and have easier time to get over tumultuous moments, emotional turbulence. Femininity is nature. Masculinity, on the other hand, has to be fostered, and very few males fully grasp what it means to be a man. Now, there are levels to it, and being less of a masculine person doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It's just a belief of mine that embracing fully what you are born as maximizes the human experience. Otherwise, it's like being Clark Kent at all times and never really use your superpowers. Same goes for women. Many of you have probably heard that mastering your emotions is a prerequisite for success, which is true, but you have to understand how it's done in practice. An emotional person, oftentimes referring to unpleasant emotions, anger, bitterness, sadness, is a person who doesn't know how to deal with emotions, doesn't process them in due time, doesn't handle them in a proper way. How, you ask? In confinements of your privacy, in solitude. It should never be about seeking validation or pity, which in women's case is totally normal, having a more hive mentality. Emotions are stored in the body as energy. If you're not feeling them, they remain latent. Being vulnerable publicly is confessing helplessness, defeat. That is why it's perceived as a weakness in the masculine domain. Imagine a leader of a nation weeping from the top of his lungs, seeking sympathy and comfort. Would you trust such a leader? That's what I thought. One thing people have to understand, that women and men emote and function differently. Up here, we're more different than alike. You hear feminine always trying to encourage vulnerability, showing emotions, being honest, genuine. But let me ask you this. Have you ever heard a guy who have been dumped getting his woman back by weeping? I think not. Plenty, and I mean plenty of examples from others, internet, and yes, myself included. Tears rolling down the cheeks, slobbering, sobbing. The rejection was even more solidified. Women despise crying men whom they were or are in a romantic relationship with. It's biologically repelling to them. Sure, some may say that it's cute and all, when you're a teenager maybe. Never trust what people say, always look for their actions. Whenever you feel very emotional, raging, uncontrollably lashing out, or feeling gloomy, it means that your emotional baggage is overflown and spilling out. It's time to get your shit together and deal with whatever. The emotional tank has to be drained for you to find harmony again. The thing is, that is exactly how anxiety, depression, and other chronic states of mind are built up. Yes, you heard it right. Those are states of mind created by a wrongful perception, constant emotional abuse without any break. A stressful lifestyle accumulates unpleasant feelings. They are building up over time, and the longer you are neglecting them, the louder the crying of your soul will be, the stronger the pain. Sadness is beautiful and dreamy and creative and inspiring. You shouldn't avoid being sad. Whenever I am gloomy, I become more attuned with the inner, which generates extra creativity. Because you are overwhelmed by emotions, and creativity is a feeling. Some of the great artists were miserable, and that's how they created their masterpieces, channeling their emotions through their craft. Unfortunately, for many of them, they didn't know how to cope with sadness, resulting in tragic endings. Emotions have to be felt as soon as possible from the time they bubble up. If you're seeing a comedy show, it's not like you hear the jokes and 3 days after you burst out in tears, laughing your butt off. No, you do it right there and then. Same goes for unpleasant emotions. Whenever you engage in something that brings up uncomfortable feelings, make your best to process them. It doesn't mean momentarily, rather deal with them behind closed doors. Now, there are times when you're at a low energy and it's harder to keep your guard up. You become extra sensitive to emotional explosions. Try to avoid such situations when you're tired, have had a stressful period in your life, or overall drained emotionally. Noisy environments tend to suck out the energy as well. Always listen to your body. Recuperate, and the same things won't feel as tiresome and tedious when energized. Remember, if you bottle up those emotions, the panic attacks are becoming you. Then you will be forced to feel those feelings one way or another. That's what anxiety means, the body shutting down on you. If the feelings are too strong and you need to shed a tear, do whatever it takes, but do it in your own company. Not just to hide your weakness, but because it will give you the most effect. Being real with yourself and letting those things go. I will share my story more in depth and you will understand even better what I mean by this. But for now, check the series on emotional fortitude to gain more practical tips on how to proceed and get a broader perspective on how to go about mastering your emotions.